Okay, welcome everybody. We are now recording. So we're going to go ahead and get started, and I'm super excited about this tonight. We are doing a live Q&A, which is something we haven't done in a while. And so what this means is it's going to be just a little bit more informal than our typical Zooms, where we're, coming at you with a detailed training on a specific subject. Let's make sure we stay muted the whole time, and let's make sure we don't accidentally screen share too. So if you guys want to put it on speaker view or gallery view, that is your choice. But you're going to hear from all of your different Fire Tribe leadership team tonight, just sharing just different tips based on the questions that you guys have been sending into us. So we're just going to go ahead and get started with the ones from the thread in Fire Tribe first, and then we'll go to the ones that have been coming in from the chat. And you guys will hear different people answer different ones. So we'll just keep passing it around. But the first question that I saw come in was about organization. And the question was just how to get and stay organized. I'm going to answer that, and then I'm going to pass that over to a couple of your other leaders. That way you guys can hear some different practical tips, and hopefully there's some tips for all these questions that you can identify with and immediately start applying. How I stay organized, I'm going to give you guys what I do now versus when I got started, because they both work. I just went digital recently, but before that I did everything on pen and paper, and that is how I built up to Presidential Diamond. So whenever I got started, I basically had a planner that was a really thick planner. It kind of looked like this. This is a spiral, but my planner looked similar. And in the back of my planner, I just had probably 50 pages of notes. And what I did was I just wrote on like the first page, potential loyal customers. And then I skipped ahead about, I don't know, 5 pages or so, and I put potential distributors. Skipped ahead about 5 more pages, and I put current loyal customers. And so what I would do is anytime someone would reach out to me about products, I would write their name under potential customers. If they reached out to me about business, I wrote their name under potential distributors. And then as customers signed, I always wrote their name under current customers. Do not rely on eSuite to help you keep track of your customers, because as your team grows and you're placing customers, you will lose track of people so fast. And when there's a sale or a promotion, it's going to be a lot harder for you to look through and contact people. Also, if you ever do thank you cards or Christmas cards or anything like that with your customers, you want to have them all in one place. You don't want to have to be digging through eSuite trying to find people. So I just had everyone written down under current customers. And then what I would do is Fridays, when I would follow up with people, I would go through current customers and potential customers and potential distributors. I would go through and follow up. And then as people would sign, I would highlight their name. And so literally, like if I pull my old planner out and show you guys, you'll see like all these highlighted names, and then you'll see some people I haven't signed yet. But it became a really exciting thing to do on Fridays, like seeing how many names I could highlight. And then also, if I maybe had a Friday that wasn't as fruitful as some other Fridays, it was still encouraging to look at how many names I had highlighted and remind myself that, okay, like these seeds are going to sprout even if they didn't sprout today. But now that I do everything digital, basically I got an iPad last fall, an iPad Pro, and I have an Apple Pencil, and I do the exact same thing. It's just all digital in my iPad. So if you do have an iPad Pro and you want to do this, you just want to basically download the app called GoodNotes. It's like a $5 app or something like that. Totally worth it. And it allows you to like import different like notebook paper type spreadsheets. Let me see if I can show you guys so like you can see what it looks like. Basically, so when I write my enrollments down, you'll see this is like GoodNotes notebook paper. Can you guys see this? It just literally looks like a sheet of notebook paper. That comes with GoodNotes. And then whenever you need more paper, you just like pull it and it gives you more paper. And so it just keeps like giving blank paper. So that's a really cool app. And then I just imported like little spreadsheets that I actually got from the files of Freedom Legacy. I don't know if you guys can see that, but this is what I put my potential customers on, and potential distributors. So you can find these even if you want to do pen and paper. These are in the files of Freedom Legacy. It just says potential customer spreadsheet, potential distributor spreadsheet. So you could print them out, and I just have them in there and keep pulling right in GoodNotes, and it gives me blank ones anytime I need them. But I just write down the name, where I connected with them, so Facebook or Instagram, and then products of interest. So like if it was coffee and greens, I'm going to write that. And then when I'm doing follow-ups on Fridays, same thing as when I was pen and paper. I just go through and I just like all the spreadsheets, just keep going through and following up with everybody. And then as people sign, I go to my enrollments paper, which is what I just showed you guys. And that is where I write their names down. So it's literally the exact same concept. I'm just digital now and I wasn't before. But that's how I personally stay organized. Amanda, I know you are super organized. Do you want to share your best tips on organization?
I don't know if that's true, but I try, and I like the thing on Freedom Legacy as well. That's what I always did. I tried it your way at first of just writing down names in a book. I think that's a great way. If that works for you, that's great. It did not work for me. I let people slip through the cracks. So what I did is I went into Freedom Legacy and I downloaded the potential loyal customers and potential, actually, I think I just scribbled out customers and road distributors on the one. I just printed out like 50 of them. And I kept it in this. It's like a folder, but it's got like 3 holes at the top. And then I upgraded to this one. And it was really great because it's bendable. So like I would stick it in the back pocket of my diaper bag. And it was always with me because I always had my baby and I always had diapers. So like it was literally always with me, like everywhere. And then I would just do exactly like Brittany just showed you. I do it now electronically. I'm actually considering going back to this because it was good for me to see how many pages there were. This is actually one I use for training, so there's nothing on here, but there's names here. And then over here on this side is all the squares. So you can see how many times you followed up with them. And it's kind of cool to see how many times you need to follow up with someone before you get to highlight them, like what Brittany said, because then you'll see like a newer page maybe that you've only followed up with twice. And you know, like they're gonna sign up, but like if you flip back, you'll see, okay, well that most of these ones that are yellow already, I followed up with them like 6 times or 5 times before they signed. So then it's a little bit more reassuring, like when you're only writing in the 2nd or the 3rd date, like, okay, no, that's fine. I'm still like, you know, plowing my fields. I'm still doing my thing. And I use that exact same system, like she does to put in the products. And, it's really simple. I just think the biggest thing is keeping it with you at all times. And like I said, I'm actually considering going back to paper. I do exactly the same thing now. I downloaded the same documents and have them on my iPad, but for some reason the paper worked really well for me. iPad's great too, but I think paper is a really good option.
Yeah, I totally agree. I do think there is something about physically writing it on the paper. And one thing too, I wanted to touch on, and Amanda kind of said this, but like the question was formed, how do you get organized and then how do you stay organized? So like, obviously we've told you guys what we do, but if you're listening to this and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm totally not organized at all, I don't even know where to begin. The best thing that I can say is just starting now, getting organized. Like just take like slowly but surely, depending on how long you've been in the business, this may be easier for you or harder for you. But just if you've been in the business 2 years, it might take you a long time to go back through your messages, but just start tackling it like 15 minutes every day. Just scroll through. And what I recommend is going down to the bottom first and working your way back up. So like if you joined like last June, go back all the way to last June and then do all of June and all July. And then tomorrow, maybe you do August and September, and then just keep doing that until you catch up to now. And do that with Instagram, do that with your text messages, and do that with Facebook. But don't overwhelm yourself trying to take like a full 24 hours to go through everything. Just like go through it in waves. When I was upgrading to my iPad, like it took me a while to get everything transferred over, and I still went through to make sure no one fell through the cracks. And I mean, it was involved, but just take it day by day. And then if you're new, just the best advice I can give you is start now with getting organized. Don't wait until you've been in 9 months. It's really easy to think like, oh, I'm not talking to that many people. I can keep track of it by scrolling through my messages. And like, yeah, that's true when you've only been in for like 2 weeks, but you just wait. When you've been in 2 months, 6 months, like you're gonna have had so many more conversations that people absolutely will fall through the cracks. And you'll be scrolling through your messenger one day or scrolling your Facebook and you'll see someone's name and you're like, oh my gosh, they asked me about cleanse and I never followed up. So also, I wanted to pass it over to Chelsea. I know, Chelsea, you enroll a lot of people and you do a lot through host to post. And maybe you're still getting a system down pat, but do you just want to share with everybody how you are keeping track with so many conversations? Because I feel like you've got to be doing something well to, be blowing up the enrollment chat constantly.
Yeah, so I'm definitely not like the most organized person by any means. But yeah, my host to post do blow up and that's overwhelming and that's a lot to remember and to follow up with. So I will write some names down from host to post if they were interested, and then if they decided not to purchase, I do a lot of hair, skin, and nails host to post. So If I talk to them and then they say they don't have the money right now or whatever, I'm going to write their names down. And then next month I'm going to follow up with them, or the next week or whatever. And then, yeah, basically I always scroll through my Facebook messages to make sure nobody fell through the cracks. That's like a huge thing for me because I'm really bad at writing things down and being organized, which I'm sure some other people could relate. So I'm really huge about always scrolling through my Facebook messages back like 2 weeks, a month. I always just want to make sure that nobody's falling through the cracks.
I love that. So that's just like when you think of it, just taking the time to scroll through and just see if you've missed anybody. Okay, so one of the other questions we got was how to sign high BV LCs consistently. Chelsea, I'm just going to pass this right back over to you because I feel like you've had quite a few lately. And then after Chelsea, if someone else would like to share their best tips, we'll just pass this around to whoever.
Hey, yeah, so let's like even on like I post a lot about just the TFX, about if they want to lose weight and they're on a tight budget or whatever. A tight budget doesn't mean $36 for everybody. So if they're interested, I'll tell them what that post is about, and then I'll be like, and then I'll ask them their weight loss goals. And if they're telling me that they want to lose 50 to 100 pounds, I'm going to be honest with them, and I want them to have their best results possible. So I'm going to tell them what I recommend, and I always recommend the keto triple threat. So the keto coffee, chocolate greens, and the TFX. And then most of the time they're like, yeah, that's what I need. That's what I want. And I'll share some before and afters with them. And it's always just like a deal breaker. And then whenever I get all their information and I go to put their order in, I always try to upsell the cleanse. So I have a message that I write. Let's see if I can find it. Hold on. Sorry. And it says, hold on. This is super good. I can't remember who I heard this from. I send them, as soon as I get all their information, I say, okay, perfect. So it looks like there's an exclusive offer for you at checkout for our 2-day all-natural cleanse. You can still eat on it, just no fried foods or alcohol for 2 days. Drink 1 bottle in the morning, 1 at night. It's only $36. Do you want to try this out as well? And they're always like, yeah, heck yeah, like throw in a cleanse. And I'm like, this is amazing to jumpstart your weight loss goals. This is going to be great for you. And most of them, like 90% of the time, they're like, yeah, go ahead and throw that in. So that's always upping my BV.
Oh my gosh, I love that so much. Do you want to share that message in the chat for anyone that wants to copy that?
Yeah, I'll do that now.
Amanda, I'm going to pass it over to you. I know that you are just really good about staying in a habit of upselling. And I can remember just like when we were running like 2 years ago for Triple and Diamond, I remember you like upselling greens and just like anything on people's orders that had nothing to do with that. So do you want to share just some of your best tips with getting those?
I think my number one tip is honestly like, I kind of ignore the fact of what they're coming to me for. So regardless of what you're asking me for, my conversations always look pretty much exactly the same. And I mean, it's not like I ignore them like they think I'm ignoring them, but it doesn't matter what they commented on. It doesn't matter what they messaged me. My conversations are going to look the same. I can share a couple messages here in the chat that I use like all the time. So if they comment on a hosted post or on one of my before and afters or vote on a poll, or if they messaged me or something, I'm always gonna say like, they usually ask a specific question about something. So I will answer their question. I'm not gonna completely ignore them. I'll answer whatever their actual question is, but then I immediately phase it into something where I say like, I'll add the message in the chat, but it's like, I just wanna figure out like, I'll ask, what's your diet, what's your current diet plan and exercise look like? Absolutely no judgments whatsoever, the little crossed out hands. I just want to put together the best possible package to get you the perfect package to get you the best possible results. I have it in my text, so I can't remember exactly what it says, but I use that every single time. And it very rarely, like I remember when I started doing it thinking like people are probably going to say budget or like they say they don't want a package, but I really don't have a lot of people tell me they don't want a package because what they want is the best possible results. And that's what I literally just told them. Like, I want to put together the perfect package for you to get the best possible results. And everyone wants that. That's why they're messaging us. So even if it might be a little bit more than they thought, like I just kind of don't even let them steer the conversation at all. I try to figure out what I need to know to get you the best results possible. And I don't even really ask them like, how much weight they want to lose. If they bring that up, that's great. But like, I kind of just think, okay, well, you need to lose all of the extra weight. So here you go. Like, and like Chelsea said, once I get their banking details, it doesn't matter how many things they ordered. I'm always going to try to add on one more thing immediately after that. It's usually never cleanse because I sell more cleanse than anything. So I've already got that, but I'll think of something to add on. And then I just say really nonchalantly, hey, I just thought like maybe the fat fighters would also be really amazing for you. Or not, maybe I would say it more like red than that, but I would say, I just realized like I didn't put fat fighters in your package. That would be perfect for you because in the evenings when you have, you know, takeout, when you're working at the mall, like that would be really good to help you keep on track when you're not going to have your shake or whatever. Can I add that for you? And I always say, can I add that for you? Because people don't like to say no to that kind of a question. So I don't like ask them like, what do they think? And they're usually like, yeah, sure. Okay. And I'll say like, it's only $25. So I always do that regardless of how many things they ordered. And I think that's a really good thing too. I'll send my message through.
Yeah, no, I love that so much that you said you don't ask them what they think. You're just saying, can I add that on to your order? What do you think is something that I feel like we all want to ask? Like it sounds natural, but it's actually one of the worst things that we can ask because we're the experts here, not them. And so we don't want to ask what they think. We want to be very assertive and we want them to be confident in what we're recommending. So I love that tip that she's saying, like, I'm going to put the best package together for you. Just building that confidence up right out of the gates. Deborah, I see you on here. Would you mind sharing just your best tip for high BV customers? I know you shared something in the enrollment chat earlier this week, but I know not everyone's in there. And I think that is a great, like, practical thing people can implement.
Hey guys, sorry. Yeah, I was getting groceries. I was at Walmart, so I was not letting you see everything behind me. Yes, so one thing that I do, I sell a ton of triple threat. And you guys, whatever you post about is what you sell. And so I post about triple threat. That tends to be what people get the best results on. And it's a high BV package. And so like they win, I win. And here's the thing, like we only have a handful of weight loss products, right? We have loads of nutrition stuff, but as far as weight loss, it really is TFX, keto coffee, greens, cleanse, fat fighters, and BFF eventually once it comes back. So we have a small bundle that we can put together of all of those things that are going to work together best because they are cleansing out all of the sludge and toxins from their system. They are fighting the carbs and fat from their heaviest meals. They're getting all of their nutrition. They're getting their good fats. That is the best bundle. All of our products put together is the best possible bundle. But same thing like Amanda and Chelsea was saying, I really don't, I may ask a few questions like, what are your eating habits? How much do you exercise? But for the most part, I'm going to put together the same exact package for every single person that needs to lose weight. I'm going to start with coffee, greens, TFX, and then I'm going to say, based off of your eating habits, if you're already eating fairly clean, you may not need the fat fighters, but let's go ahead and throw in a cleanse to kickstart. Or if they are eating like fast food every single day, I'm like, okay, you're going to need these 4. And then I always throw in the cleanse after the fact. And the tip that I threw into the enrollment chat the other day was that there is a promo code. If you go into the Live Fit app the very first time as a customer or a distributor, it gives you the option to put in like an email address and it gives you a 20% off promo code as like a one-time welcome gift. The promo is LiveFit20, and I'll put that in the chat in just a minute. But every single time you use it, if it's their first order, you can get 20% off of anything. Now, it does slightly lower the BV of your order, and so I offer the cleanse for free as an add-on if they get 3 or more products. So I'm never going to just straight up offer it because if they're willing to pay and they already know what the price is, I'll say, hey, if you're getting 2 items, I can actually throw in a free cleanse if you get 1 more. We have this special promo going. And so I will drop that LiveFit20 promo in my eSuite checkout cart, and it comes to be the exact same price when you have TFX, fat fighters, and greens. It's like 147, or maybe it's 147, I think. And then you throw in the cleanse and you add the 20% off promo code, and it drops the price all the way back down to like 149 or 150. So it's in essence free, quote unquote. You're getting a cleanse for like $3. So I offer a cleanse for free, or it doesn't have to be cleanse either. It could be Fat Fighters, it could be TFX, it could be a free bottle of something. It could be a free bottle of hair, skin, nails to try. But you're throwing in something for free if they buy 3 or more products. And so people are all about freebies. They will spend more money to get something for free because it just makes sense to them. And so if you're offering something for free when they buy the 3rd item, not only are they combining more products together, so they're going to get better results, but you're also getting a higher volume and they get to try something for free. And then I just go in and tell them, I say, you know, it is a welcome gift, so we can either take the cleanse off for the next one if it's not in your budget, or if you love the cleanse and you want to continue, you know, it will send you another cleanse unless we change it. So I let them know that it is a welcome gift, but we will have to change it before the next order comes out. But more often than not, if somebody is already looking at greens and coffee, or like TFX and greens, or some variation of that, they will almost always buy the 3rd item to get that freebie.
I love that. If you guys are like noticing a trend, everyone that's sharing these tips, they are the person in control of the conversation, and they're building up that confidence with their potential as like they are the expert. They've got everything that they need. So notice Deborah's not telling them like, oh, I can give you a 20% coupon code. No, she's taking control of everything, and she's saying if you get 3 or more things, I can add a cleanse for free, or you can get a cleanse for free. So just keep that in mind, like use that as a tool in your tool belt, but don't just give them the code to say use on whatever. Use it as a way to give you that leg up. Okay, the next question that we got was, where do you look to add people to your social media? I'll touch on this and then I'll pass this over to Jordan if she would like to share where she finds people to add. But my best tip on Facebook is I love going to just a guy that I went to high school or college with. Guys typically have a lot of girlfriends on Facebook. And so I will just go to a popular guy from school and I will go to his friends and I'll just add any girls that he is friends with that I have 3 or more mutual friends with. And I'm telling you, like right here on the Zoom tonight, there's several of you that I'm your enroller, and that is exactly how I added you on Facebook. So it is a great way to find, other women who you likely have something in common with, who are from your same area, went to your same school, whatever. And then as far as for Instagram, I keep it so simple. I just find a picture when I'm scrolling that I like that picture. Like it's a photo that I legitimately would like even if I wasn't in the business. And then I will click on the likers, and don't do this if it's another distributor. Make sure this is not another distributor on your team or anything. But I'll click on the likers of that photo, and then I will just follow all the likers. And so that is a perfect way to add to your network, of like-minded people. I never follow men on Instagram. That's just me. I follow just women. I'll accept guys that want to follow me if they look normal. And I have like guys that are my customers from Instagram. I've had a couple guys join my team. I do not accept ISIS's requests, but other than that, I'll accept them if they look normal. But I just personally don't follow them because I'm looking for just like other moms like me, or women, whether they are a mom or not, just people who I feel like would like to be on our team and like to be a part of our family. So that's just me. Just my tip is just finding people that you look like you share something in common with. But yeah, Jordan, what is your best tip for growing your network?
So one thing that I like to do is pick somewhere that I don't really have customers yet or don't have distributors. And I will go and look up those places. Like say I want to grow my customer base in California. I'm going to look up somewhere in California, maybe like a landmark or like a really cool place or a beach or something. And I'm going to see people who have tagged themselves in those locations. And basically what Brittany said, I'm clicking on their pictures, something that I would like, and I'm going through and adding the likers from those posts. More so Instagram, I do that, but even Facebook, if I'm not dead set on making sure I have mutual friends in common, I'll do that on Facebook as well. But I did that before we moved from Texas to North Carolina. Brittany actually gave me a really good tip to look up places in North Carolina where we were going to be moving to and follow people that have been checking in these places. And I've gotten distributors that way since I've been here, and a ton of customers that way since I've been here too.
I love that. That's so smart. Like going, like strategically adding from places you don't yet have team or don't yet have customers. That's good. Okay, the next question I'll just answer real quick because I feel like we're all gonna probably have the same answer. It was just it's someone that was new and they just said, how do you explain what it means to be a loyal customer? So what I'm about to say, this wording is in the pricing scripts of Fire Tribe. So don't feel like you have to remember this. You can go access this wording. But we all pretty much explain being a loyal customer that very similarly. We might have a few different words that we use, but we mostly all say the same thing. Basically, I just like to keep it super simple and nonchalant. I don't make a big deal about being a loyal customer. I just will say, so hair, skin, and nails retails for $55, but it's only $33 with my 40% off discount spots. How my discount spots work is after getting hair, skin, and nails today at 40% off, you would just agree to try at least one thing in September and one thing in October. It could be the exact same thing again, or it could be something different. We have over 50 products starting as low as $25, and you get 40% off on whatever you choose. After that, you get to keep the discount for life, and we give you 10% back in free product. It's an amazing deal. Does that make sense? And then when they say yes, I just say, perfect. Did you want to go ahead and get started on some? So I don't make a big deal, and I don't even call it a loyal customer program or like just anything. Like the main thing is when you're talking to people about this is you don't want them to feel like it's a big commitment. So I don't use the word commitment. I don't use the word like 90 days or 3 months or anything like that. I like to just keep it so nonchalant. That's why I say just after getting it today, you just agree to try something in September, something in October. And obviously, as it's a new month, you just always want to change that. But yeah, the next question that we had, and I'll see, let's see, we'll pass this over to someone else. But okay, it was, how do you engage with your network when you are not an outgoing person, and how to attract a network to you when you have a very small circle? So I feel like this is a great question, because I feel like we can all relate to this, because I don't think any one person on here tonight had a big circle when they got started. But I'm just going to pass it over to Tabitha getting started, because I know she had a really, really small Facebook following when she got started and has grown that exponentially now. So Tabitha, what's your best tips for that?
Okay, so like Brittany said, I had actually just turned my Facebook back on because we moved from Texas to Montana. I wanted to stay connected to people. So it was really small. I had actually just like cleared out people. I maybe had 100 something friends at the time. So since starting the business, I used all the tips that they shared as far as growing your network. And then I heard this before, you want to share the 5 things you're passionate about. So whatever you're passionate about, that's what you need to be talking about, because that's going to connect you to people, and that's going to connect you to a network. And people are going to want to stay tuned to what you're doing, seeing what you're up to. And then you're going to also just very effortlessly weave in the business and the products. So once you've already built that rapport and that connection with people, they're going to be more receptive to what you're talking about. And they're not just going to see you as someone that added them to, sell them something. They're going to have a connection with you. So, yeah, that's the best way that I interact with my network, is just, I love hiking. I love outdoors. Right now it's all about pregnancy, and people are staying tuned to my page just because they're waiting for me to pop, because I'm like so overdue right now. But just, talking about those things, sharing about the business and how excited I am that I get to be home, and just things like that, where you just really connect your life with the business, and instead of trying to make it 2 separate things. Like, this is my life, this is my It Works life. Like, you have to blend the 2 if you really want to be successful in attraction marketing and working your business on social media.
I love that. And you guys, Tabitha is the real MVP. She's like almost 41 weeks pregnant, and this is dedication, being on here tonight, when she's literally about to pop any second now. Yeah, and I think it's important to remember, like, you don't have to be an outgoing person to just be friendly and engage with people. I've always been super shy, but I find that it's actually a lot easier for me to engage on social media than it is in real life. Like, I'm more shy at events and stuff than I am on social media. But I think just starting with liking and commenting on a lot of people's things, and then, like Tabitha says, like really focusing on building your brand. Amanda, do you want to share a tip on how you engage with your network, and how you attracted a network to you and you had a very small circle? I know you maxed out at 5,000 friends really fast. So what was your best tip with that?
Exactly what Brittany said. I really can't add to it because I literally did exactly what she said, but I was just a freak about it, and it was like a game to me. Like, I was obsessed with getting to 5,000, and I can tell you I went from 2,000 to 4,000 in less than 30 days, which, by the way, right now probably is not a great plan, so don't do that on Instagram for sure. But I'm just saying, like, the reason that I want to say that is I saw it was literally exactly double the enrollments for distributors, more for distributors, and double for LCs that I enrolled that month. And I just, like, it clicked for me, like 2,000 to 4,000, that's double my market. And it was exactly double my LCs, and then more than double the DTs in just 30 days. And it's pretty much like consistently stayed like that. So it's just exactly what Brittany said, but just sticking to it really consistently. And I remember one time she said to me, when I was having problems, like, I guess on Instagram more so than Facebook, but she just said, like, it's just one thing before you go to bed. Like, even if you haven't done it yet, just before you put your phone down and before you put your head on the pillow, just do it. And just remember to do it. And it's really, like, it's as simple as that. And it was just making sure that I always did it every single night. And then also, like I said, like, it really became like a game to me. And that's what I've been doing on Instagram now, because Instagram, like, keeps blocking me. But now I've just been trying to, like, every time I can think of it, like, hurry up and sneak in there and, like, add a few people. So, like, it's just like consistency and remembering to do it. And, like, there were a couple times that after we talked that I was, like, my phone was charging and I was laying in bed, and I literally would just, like, get up out of bed. It takes like 3 minutes and go add people exactly how she said and just do it.
And I want to take this time to say too, because Amanda just made me think of this when she said that she's at 5,000, she literally can't add. A couple of us are at 5,000, myself, Amanda, I'm not sure who of the other girls are at 5,000. So if you add us and we don't accept you and you're new, just know it's not personal. Like, we've literally been maxed out for a while, so we can't add any friends. Okay, next question I'm going to pass over to Chelsea. The next question was, someone said it seems like everyone they're talking to lately, both PLCs and PDTs, is telling them that they need to wait until they get paid. So what would be just your best tip to that, Chelsea?
My best tip to that, I think, would be just continue following up with them and continue posting, because now you know that they're watching you. Continue to post for potential distributors. You want to continue to tell your story, and you want to continue to post your why. Why did you start this business? What this business is going to do for you, and what you've seen it do for others. That's huge. And that I've had a few potential distributors. Hold on, my computer's dying. Sorry. I've had a few potential distributors take the jump and take the leap just because they've seen me posting. Or I've even had distributors who have quit and come back because I'm going live now and I'm talking about what the business is doing. Going live has been huge in my business here recently, and people love to just watch you, and they love to hear about your personal life and what's happening. And I feel like that's grown my business tremendously. So my biggest tip is really just continue to follow up and continue posting about what they're interested in, because you know they're watching.
Yeah, I love that so much. It really is so true. People are always watching. And I mean, sometimes we do have to follow up a lot with people, and that's okay. But one thing too I want to share is, like, if you're getting frustrated with your current potentials and you feel like none of them are biting, the best thing to do when you're frustrated with your potentials is just to get new potentials. Because those seeds are going to sprout eventually. It might not be now, but they will sprout eventually. But in the meantime, you can get new potentials who maybe are going to sprout a lot faster. So, okay, the next question that someone asked was, what would be some points on how to get people to sign up with you? So I'm not sure if this was directed with products or business, but we'll just answer both. I'm going to pass it over to Catherine first. Catherine, do you want to share just your best tips on when you're new, just attracting customers to you and attracting distributors to you?
I would say, when you're new, like Tabitha said, you have to have a brand. And once you figure out what it is that you want to attract to you, you'll find out your groove, and you'll post the way that you want people to come, those kind of people that you want in your business, the kind of people that need our products. We have so many products for everybody. You don't have to be overweight. You don't have to be someone who doesn't eat their fruits and vegetables. Everyone has a product or needs a product that we have. And as far as the business, once you have your brand, people like you are going to come to you because of how you are portraying the business, how you are portraying yourself, and how you, your goals and how you lead your team. People are watching that every single day. And so you want to make sure that you're posting your story every day. You want to make sure you're posting products before and afters, what our products are doing for yourself. So you need to be a product of the product and for other people. So if you're doing that consistently every day, it's going to bring in those people. It may seem slow at first, but that's okay. You just keep going. You keep doing what you know you're supposed to do, and they will come to you 1000%.
I love that. It really is so, so true. Jordan, do you want to just give a couple tips on that same thing too?
Yeah, just to add on to that, what Catherine was saying, you're going to attract what you are putting out on your social media. So if you're putting out negative things and really controversial things, that's going to be the people that you're attracting with your, to your business. And nobody wants that. Nobody wants a Debbie Downer and, Miss whatever pants over there that just wants to argue with everything you say. But what we don't realize a lot of times is, we may think that we're just sharing things that we're super passionate about, but you have to remember that your social media is your business now. Like, that is your shop. You run it like a professional. So just making sure that you are posting positive things. I know Brittany does a quote every day, like an inspirational quote. A lot of us do the same thing. And, that's going to just attract happy people. It sounds really silly, but it's so true. And as you are, just to tag onto that, as you are like scrolling through your social media, if you're seeing things that are super negative, things that just literally make you feel like yuck when you're scrolling past it or rolling your eyes at it, or gosh, why are they putting their drama on Facebook again? Just unfollow those people, you guys. You can still be friends with them in person if you want to, but just go ahead and unfollow them. Keep your page clean and uplifting and inspiring, and post that way as well. And that's what you're going to attract to you.
Yes, I love that so much too. It's so true. Like, you've got to remember, like, you're a business owner and you're not going to want to work with those kind of people that you're attracting. And so just asking yourself, anytime you're having like an off day, like, would I want someone on my team who's acting the way I'm acting right now? Or also another question is like, if everyone on my team was working at the level that I'm working right now, would I be happy with that? And I know that that's something that is like a really like simple way to check yourself back into where you need to be, is just like ask yourself that. And that helps. I know me on my worst days, like, be more consistent, because I'm like, okay, like, I would be frustrated if someone wasn't being this consistent. So I need to step it up. And so that goes with everything, like negativity, consistency, your work ethic, like, you name it, just like asking yourself, okay, the way I'm being, would I want other people on my team to be that way? I'm going to pass it over to Tabitha too, to touch on this, because I know that she has some great tips on this too.
Okay, so I wanted to hit on the customer part. How do you attract customers? You attract customers by talking about products that are relevant to you, because they're going to connect with you. So this past month in July and this month, all the products I've sold are stretch mark cream. I've never sold stretch mark cream before in my life until I was pregnant, and it was a relevant product for me. And so people were drawn to that because there were so many other moms that could relate. They either had old stretch marks or they were about to pop with me, and we've kind of been on the journey together. And so posting pictures of my belly, me using it, and other people's before and afters has really been so good for me. And, after I have this baby, I'm going to be talking about the products that I use that are going to help me bounce back. And that is also going to attract a whole different kind of attention to my page and the products I'm using. So whatever you're passionate about, whatever products you use personally, that's what you need to be talking about. So, if you're somebody that doesn't use, you don't use one of the certain products, it's just not relevant for you, then don't talk about it. Talk about things that you use, because people want to see you happy with your products and having results. And then that's going to make them want to use it too.
I love that. That's so good, you guys. Like, find something that you know is a problem for you, or is something that at least you could be getting healthier in, or getting, just improving in, and go for it, because that's so true. Like, people are so drawn to what they're seeing working for you. I'm going to touch on this with distributors real quick, and then we'll go to the next question. But one thing that I want to share when you're new is just remembering that no matter if you're literally brand new, you just joined a week ago, you still have a story, and there's still people that are going to see what you have to offer and the message of hope that you're sharing, that are going to want to join you, just like they would want to join me or any of your other leadership team that you're hearing talking tonight. So don't believe that lie that, oh, I don't have a story yet, because if that was the case, none of us would have ever gotten to where we are, because we would have never had a way to attract people to us when we were where you're at. So just debunking that right out of the gates is so huge. But the way that you can just start is a couple things. You can tell your enroller story. If you joined with, me or one of the other girls talking tonight, just literally Cliff Notes version. Like, for months and months, I watched a girl on social media rapidly change her life with the business she worked off her smartphone. I always wondered if it was something I could do too, and I finally jumped in. I'm so excited. I get to work off my smartphone now too, and I can't even wait to see what this continues to do for my family this year. If you've been praying for a solution or a better way, or if you've been praying for an opportunity, like, you can take that so many different directions. Message me or text opportunity to, and then put your phone number. I would love to talk to you. And you can see, like, nothing about that said that you had made $1 million with this business. You just put out an encouraging, inspiring, like, message of hope. And starting with that will help you develop your own story and help you get more comfortable sharing your story. But then after that, my best tip is looking for opportunities to insert the business. So maybe, you just got your first check. You've only been in the business for, a couple weeks, and your first check was like $40. Well, then talk about, like, take a picture at the gas station and just say, I'm so excited that working off my smartphone just filled up my gas tank. What a blessing that I'm able to make an income from home now. Or maybe it's at the grocery store, maybe you're eating out. Like, you can literally say that, in anything that you're doing in everyday life. And you'd be surprised how many people that's what's going to get their attention, because they can't fill their gas tank up all the way, or they're, frantically checking their account in line at the grocery store, whereas you're talking about your smartphone business is helping you with groceries. But the next question that I saw that was asked was about voice messaging. And so I'm going to pass this over to one of the other girls, whoever wants to ask this, because I feel like this is something that everyone can touch on. But basically the question was, how on earth do you get better at voice messaging? I have a hard time remembering what to say. I stutter. I say a lot, which reflects badly when I'm truly excited, but it doesn't seem like it. My best tip is just practice makes perfect, but I'm sure some of the other girls have some other tips. So I'm going to pass it over to whoever would like to take this question. All right, Jordan, passing it to you.
Just doing it. I mean, when I first started talking with Brittany, I didn't even know that you could voice message on Facebook Messenger. And I was like, this is weird. Like, she would voice message me all the time, and I would just type back to her, because I just was so uncomfortable with it. And if Josh were here, he would laugh, because, like, when it came to, like, starting the business, I trusted Brittany with my life in this business, you guys. Like, when I would ask her a question and she would tell me how she would answer something, I was like replaying her message 20 times and like writing it down, and I would have a script in front of me, and then I would voice message it, and it sounded awful, you guys. It didn't sound anything like Brittany. I was like, I'm going to get there one day, but I just kept doing it and kept doing it. And a little tip, in case you guys don't know this, when you're voice messaging, you can just slide it up a little bit and turn it red, and it deletes the whole thing. So if you are like in the middle of talking and you just like really messed it up, or you just are super embarrassed, just slide it up and delete it. And the good thing is too, like, people just like hearing your voice. So if you do mess up, if you do say something weird, or you're, stumbling over your words or saying a lot, I feel, see, I'm saying it right now. I feel like it just goes over well with people, because they can hear you and it's more genuine, and they feel like they're getting to know the person behind the screen rather than just typing. So just do it. And you can also send them to yourself if you want to do that. Send them to go to, like, as if you're typing your cell phone messenger first. Send it to yourself, listen to it. If you hate it, you don't have to send it. If you love it, you can just forward it over to them. So I do voice messaging 100% now, especially with distributors, and it's like the best thing ever. So
one thing, Oh, go ahead. Who is
I just want to add, I don't know if y'all know me that well, but I'm very introverted. And so when I started this business, Brittany was telling me same kind of thing, like you have to voice message, it's a game changer. And I'm like, no, I can't do that. And so I would do the same thing as Jordan. I would just take little notes of what Brittany was saying, and then I would either voice message her back to let her listen to it, or do it to myself just to get the practice in. And you can do that at any time. Just anytime you're talking to a friend or anyone in this business, voice message, and you will get into the habit of doing that, and you'll feel so much better because the people that you are talking to about this business will hear it in your voice, the excitement. And if you say a million times, it's okay. They probably do too. And it just, I'm doing it now, and it's just so easy to do. But yeah, just keep doing it, keep practicing. Don't overthink it. Just do it.
I love that. And it really is so true. Like everyone says and like and things like that. So people aren't going to judge you as harshly as you think they would. One thing that I thought of when Jordan was sharing her tip about going up and deleting it that I wanted to share with you guys, if you are like pretty invested in that voice message, like you're a minute and a half in, maybe it's like, because on iPhone, it doesn't like cut you off at a minute like Facebook does and Instagram. So let's say you're like a minute and a half in, and then you like totally brain freeze, or your husband walks in the room. Like Zach's the worst. He walks in when I'm like seriously voice messaging someone, and then I get so distracted. You can literally just like let go and send it, and then take like 5 seconds and collect your thoughts, and then just start a new one. So that way you're not like clamming up and messing up in that, you know, that middle part. You're just letting go and sending it, and then taking a second to regroup, and then starting again. And I do that on Facebook too. Like sometimes like I might be at the 30-second mark. I still could keep talking, but if like my kids start running in and being crazy, I'll just let it go and send, because what I said was good up to that point. But then I'll just send another one, and I'll just literally say, oh, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to send that. Anyways, back to what I was saying. And then I just keep talking. So that's a tip. If that's what's happening to you, you're getting clammed up at a certain point. But okay, the next question that I saw that was asked, which we kind of touched on this a little bit, but I will see if anyone has anything they'd like to add. And Chelsea, I'll just go ahead and give this to you, because I feel like you'd be a good person to answer this. But the question was, I'm still new in creating my story/journey. I would love some tips on how to entice potential customers while I'm still learning. The reason I'm passing this over to you, Chelsea, is I feel like you got out of the gates, came out of the gate swinging right away in the beginning, but you didn't have any leg up other than you were just doing all the things you were learning. So what is your best tips to someone who's new and that's where they're at? They're just wanting to entice as many customers to them as possible.
Yeah. So when I first started, I had absolutely no idea what I was doing. I just knew that I needed something to work. So my number one tip is use the examples that are provided to you. My number one go-to page was signing loyal customers and distributors page. Use those example posts, just change the wording, add your own emojis, make it your own, make it sound like yourself, and just post. I didn't stop posting, and I haven't stopped since. And that's the only way I believe that I really became successful, is because I was posting like at least 6 times a day whenever I was new. And also, like they hit on before, growing your network. I went from, I think, 200 friends. My Facebook was actually a joint Facebook with my husband, so we only had like people that we personally knew. So we had like 200 people, and I just started adding from like mom groups. I was a new mom, and I was in like heart mom groups. So I started just adding girls from groups, and so I hit 5,000 friends my second month in. So that's my biggest thing: staying consistent, posting, adding to your network. Just don't stop. And also, I would dig into like trainings on YouTube, even people that weren't on our team or that I had no idea who they were. I was just searching for like It Works distributors and just listening and just letting them pour into me and just learning, and just continue to learn and don't stop.
I love that. It really is true. Like this is the business that you learn by action. You don't learn by like prepping yourself for 3 years before you get started. Like you have to just put one foot in front of the other and go for it. And that's the best way to learn and get more confident. So, okay. So one of the other questions that was asked was, how do you figure out your brand or what content attracts people to your profile? I think that this is a great question that everyone could give you a variety of answers. I will touch on it and then I'll pass it over. For me, I always heard, like, think of the 5 things you would want people to think of when they see you, and make sure you stay true posting within those 5 things. And even if you don't know exactly 5 things yet, like, start with 2 or 3 and you can, like, think more about it later. But for me, like, I'm always posting about being a mom. I post about empowering women and, like, being a voice for women, like, in a good way. I feel like our culture really needs, like, a strong woman to speak up for them, but who is also a woman of faith. I feel like we have a shortage for that. And so that's something that's really passionate to me. Also, I love for my posts to have a message of keeping things simple. I think that also we live in a culture that has these really, really high standards and people feel like they can't measure up. And they want to look better, they want to feel better, but they feel like, okay, but I don't want to go run like 39 miles a day. So where's the hope for me? And so some people, like, that is where they can inspire. But for me, I like to inspire on, like, being healthy and, like, being the best version of myself by just, like, striving for progress, not perfection. And that, like, brings so many people into me because that's a message so many people can relate to. So I just would say, like, even if it's not like 5 actual things, really think, like, what do I want my message to be? Like, what would I like to help someone feel more confident in, or what is a way I would like to empower someone in? But Amanda, I'm going to pass it over to you. How would you answer that question? Figuring out your brand or what content attracts people to your profile?
I would just, like, sit there and think, who am I? And like Brittany said, like, if it's not necessarily who you are right now, like, maybe you're having a rough time, like, who do you want to be? And then just, like, I think that when you do that, like, I actually redid it the other day and it's exactly the same as it was before. But, like, who am I? I'm a mom, I'm a Christian, I'm a runner. At the time, initially, I was a coach, I was a running coach. And then, like, also, like, what do you really like? I really like food. Like, I am very passionate. I'm a foodie. I like to try different food when we travel. I also like to cook, and then I'm also kind of outdoorsy. Tabitha already talked about that, not anywhere close to her level, but, like, I kind of am outdoorsy and I like to garden. So, like, those kind of things, and I'll just try to do more of those things. And it's really funny because it's actually something that a long time ago, like, in a psych class that I took, they say, like, you should think about the things that bring you the most joy, and, like, what would you want people to remember about you when you're gone? Like, what would you want your grandchildren to remember about you? Like, if you want them to remember, like, that you're out in the garden gardening, if you, like, write those things and put them on your fridge or something, like, that will help you remember to make a post about them. So, like, if I need to make a post about running, that means I need to go run. Maybe I wasn't going to go run because maybe I'm tired, but I will feel better when I go run. And that's also beneficial for my business, if that makes sense. Same thing with gardening. It's like the things that bring you joy, for who you are as a person. Like, for Brittany, it's not running, and, like, it doesn't need to be running, or it doesn't need to be, like, intense, like, exercise for everyone. It's like whoever you actually are, and, like, the best possible version of yourself. Like, that's what I would make it. And it's not going to be the same for everyone. And it's funny that, like, mine is, like, food and also exercise, but, like, that's who I am. And, like, those are the things that bring me joy in life. And I think that it's just, like, incorporating more of that. And it also helps you remember to, like, post about those things. And it works really well too, because, like, then when you see people in real life, like, everyone knows that I'm a foodie because, like, we know all of the restaurants in Dallas, and, like, I can recommend, and, like, so people know that you're authentic and stuff. Or, like, they know that you're authentic because you might go to the church, with running clothes on. Like, they know, so they know what they're getting. And I think it helps people, like, know who you are and think that they know you. Like, people are nosy and they like to know what's going on. So I feel like when you give personal details like that, it really makes someone that you might actually have never met in your entire life feel like they know you. And that creates trust too, which helps you be able to, like, become friends with that person, whether it be somebody on your team or whether it be somebody, who is wanting to reach out to you for help and, to get some income or for health related things. So it's really beneficial to just let people in.
Yeah, no, 100%. I loved how Amanda hit, like, it's like whatever is true to you, and, like, whatever brings you joy, and, like, you're the best version of yourself when you show up as that. Because I think, like, at the end of the day, no matter what your brand's going to be, like, that's what we all want. We all want to operate in our strengths. We all want to be the best version of ourselves. And like, maybe that looks different for you than someone else, but that's okay. There's going to be people who are empowered by your message that you're sending out and your tips and like what you have to offer. So that's so good. Okay, the next question that was asked was what is the best advice to someone who's having a hard time ranking up and leading a team? I'll touch on this and then I'll pass this over to Jordan for her to share her tips on this too. But my best advice is just number one, like ask yourself, and we touched on this a little bit earlier, but like if my team was doing everything that I did today, would I be making any money? Like, would our team be successful? Would our team be doing well? That's the first things first, because you could have maybe no one on your team's working, maybe your team is working. That doesn't matter. First things first, we've got to remember from the head, everything else flows. And so getting, yourself straight first and making sure you're doing what you need to be doing. And this doesn't always just mean tangible things. Like, you could be posting, you could be following up, you could be doing all the right things on paper, but your mindset could be awful. And if that's the case, you will feel that resistance with ranking up and leading a team because your head's not in the game. I know that if I'm having like a rough day, I've got to get my head straight before I get on the phone with, one of my leaders or one of my newbies, because I'm not going to be able to give them the best of me. I'm a lot more likely to maybe like snap or be short or whatever, which is not what they need from me if I don't get my head straight. And so this applies no matter what rank you are in the business, whether you're Ruby or you're all the way up to ambassador. Like, you got to make sure your mindset is straight, because you can be doing all the right things but still have your head in the dumps. And my best tip for that is just, obviously self-development, but a lot of times, like, if our mindset's not straight, what we really need is more spiritual development, in my personal opinion. If I am having a hard time getting my head straight, I probably don't need a business book. I probably need to go watch a sermon. That's just me. Maybe some people, they feel like they do need something else. But for me, if I feel like I need to get my attitude back on track, I'm going to put on someone like Pastor Michael Todd from Transformation Church, or oh my gosh, I can't think of his name, Dr. Darius Daniels from Change Church, Stephen Furtick from Elevation Church. Like, I'm going to put someone on who can speak life, and there's like, it doesn't matter which of their sermons are. And I honestly feel like usually what happens is when I go to YouTube, I swear, like, God recommends the right one for me. Like, I'll put something on and I'm immediately convicted by what they're talking about, and then I'm good, like, I'm better. But what I will say is, you've got to take it and apply it. You can hear all the right things, but you've got to like listen to it, like with the mindset of like, okay, Lord, speak to me with what I need to be, how I need to be spoken to right now. If I turn on a sermon, like that's how I go into it, because I want to be convicted. It does me no good to listen to it and not be convicted. So that's my best advice, is like, open up your mind, open up your heart, and just remember, like, just lay your pride down and just ask God, like, what do I need to correct in my head to be the best version of myself? And even further, like, what do I need to correct in my heart? And I have just found that when I go before him with that posture, like, I can fix it. But if I'm not willing to fix it, I'm just going to stay stuck, And I honestly feel like, and I'll just touch on this real quick before I hand it to Jordan, but I honestly feel like that's a big reason, like, why I struggled for so long and stayed at Triple for 17 months, because there was just some things that I wasn't letting God fix. And I was thinking, well, I'm like so consistent. I show up every day and do this, and this, but I wasn't fixing like some things I needed to fix in my head. And when I fixed the things in my head, everything else started flowing the way it should again. So that's my best tip if you feel like you're struggling at a rank. And then as far as leading a team, I think honestly, just making sure you're mindful of your intentions, you're mindful of where your heart's at. We can't lead people we don't love. And so making sure that you truly love your team, you want their best interest, and you're going to be there for them, not just on the good days, not just the days that everything's going great, but on the days when they're hard, on the days when they need you to pull them back up and say, come on, let's go. That's who we are as a team. And when you look at your team in that light, you can lead them. But you've got to be willing to take the good with the bad, and, go like, make sure that love is ruling your actions above everything. But I'm going to pass it over to Jordan and see what she would have to share about that.
I would just say go regardless. The thing that popped up in my mind when I heard this question was just, maybe you're in a place where you're sitting at a rank for a while and you're wanting to move to the next level, you're wanting to rank up, and you just can't seem to get everybody to go with you. You can't seem to get that momentum going all at once for everybody. Just go regardless, because the best thing you can do is just inspire people. When you're excited and when you're making leaps and bounds, that makes people want to do it with you. Whether it's your team who hasn't really worked in a while, or they've been kind of wishy-washy in and out, like they're going to have FOMO. They want to be there with you. They're going to know, you know, I want to be a part of this too. Or, man, I've been making excuses. I see so-and-so really, you know, changing her life. What am I doing? I need to do this too. So just going regardless. And then another thing that I thought of that really helped me a lot when I would sit at ranks, I hit Ruby pretty fast when I first started the business. And I sat at Ruby for almost a year, and I didn't really know why. I was like, what's going on? You know, I was a very like go-getter. And even other ranks that I hit, I sat at those for longer than I wanted to sit at. And the biggest thing that helped me was getting to events. And every single time, I mean, without fail, you guys, I would go to these events. It would refuel my tank, and I would be ready to go again. I would have new ideas to spark, you know, different things, whatever. And, you know, going back and sharing those with your team, sharing them in your team chats if you have one of those, is just really, really huge. And yeah, I think events just are everything. Conference is huge. I know conference we only do once a year, but that was when I had sat at Ruby for almost a year and was super discouraged about it. And I was like, I'm just gonna go to conference anyway. I can't afford it, but I'm gonna make sure I get there. And I went to conference, left there, and went Emerald within the next month. And then I went Diamond. I sat at Diamond for a little bit, got to another event, went double, went triple, went Prez. I mean, there's no mystery there. It's 100% that I was refueling and I was staying close to the fire. So if you're having a hard time leading your teams or getting to that next level, get to other people who are wanting to go where you are, who are far past where you are already. Get around those people, fuel yourself up, get new ideas, learn how to, you know, lead your team better or whatever it is, and just make it happen, and people will follow you.
Yeah, I love that so much. It really is so true. Like that momentum breeds more momentum. Like I love how you were saying, do it anyways, even if your team's not, because that momentum is contagious, like every single time. Okay, I'm going to pass it over to Amanda to touch on this too. But while Amanda's answering, if you guys have any other questions, please put them in the chat. I'm going to scroll through and see if we've missed anything while she's answering. But we're about to wrap this up. So if you have any questions you haven't asked, speak now or forever hold your peace, or at least till next time.
I love what Jordan said about just do it anyways, just go anyways, because I think for me, like ranking up was a really intimidating thing because I was busy looking left and looking right, if I'm being honest, which is really funny because I always used to see like people post in different groups and stuff and talk about that, and I thought I wasn't doing it, but I was like accidentally doing it without even realizing it. And the way that I was doing it was I wasn't necessarily comparing myself to them, but I would get like way too over analyzing it in my head about what I'm supposed to be doing instead of just sticking to the basics and doing what I know works. I would see somebody that I thought was successful doing something and then think, oh, well, maybe I should be doing that. Maybe I should be doing this. But I think for me, like just sticking to a 6 list, like keeps it really simple. And I mean, Brittany's an ambassador diamond. That is what she does, guys. Like, it's not like she has some secret that she's not telling us. Like, that's how she got there. And like, that's how she maintains. And like, that's how she became like top 20 in the company. And I mean, for me too, like, I think I was just getting too worried about it. Or I would overanalyze like what everybody was doing or what everybody wasn't doing. On my team too, like getting too worried about who's working and who's not working. Like the month that I went double, or the month before I went double, I actually almost went double accidentally, even though not very many people on my team were doing much of anything, because I had just gotten to the point where I was like, okay, well, I can't make anybody do anything. All I can do is what I can do. And I was like, I'm committing to enroll more than I've ever enrolled in my life. And I think that for me, that was really the trick, was like, to lead my team, like what I found out accidentally was like, I need to lead myself better. And that was the actual problem. And like every month that I have that's a really good month, those are the months where I'm like really turning around the mirror and looking at myself and trying to not worry about everybody else, like being as supportive and, you know, making sure that I'm available, but like really not sitting there like worrying about what's going on my team and not hounding people and trying to figure it out, but just focusing on keeping myself in check. And I think that whenever I do that, like that has been the most successful months, like the month that Louis went double and the month that I went double. I mean, the month that Louis went diamond, actually. We and Wendy went double, but I think like to be the best leader for your team, like you just need to lead yourself the best way possible. And if you focus on doing that, like your team will never falter. Like they're going to be able to follow you.
Yeah, I love that so much. Like your team just wants to be inspired at the end of the day. And so I just love so much, Amanda said, like putting the, like taking the pressure off yourself to lead them and go back to leading yourself, because then the rest follows after that. So, okay, the next question, I just scrolled through the chat. It looks like we have a couple more questions. So again, if you have any, put them in there because we're wrapping these up. But someone asked, how important is it to go live, and how do you think of topics to go live? Deborah, I'm going to pass this over to you because you go live a lot. And then we'll go to Chelsea because I know she's been going live a lot as well too.
So going live is one of the biggest things that you can do to introduce yourself to your market. People don't know you, they don't know what you like, they don't know your family, they don't know your kids, but they want to. And so when you go live, it can be about anything. It can be about products and business, and it should, but it should also be about just normal everyday things. Talk about where you're going on vacation, talk about meal prepping, or the things like Amanda was talking about, like running and gardening and the things that you love. Like just getting interaction with people and opening up your life lets people come to trust you, and people will not buy from you or join your team if they don't trust you. And so very similar to like voice messaging, you just have to go live, rip the Band-Aid off and do it. And here's the thing too, like it does not matter if you mess up and make mistakes, and if your voice shakes and your phone tips off of the whatever it is that you had it propped up on, because you're going to laugh it off. And you making mistakes shows people that you're real, and that's endearing to people. They can relate to someone who's nervous about trying something new for the first time, and it makes them love you because they feel like you're being real and they understand it, and it just opens up your life to where people trust you. So just going live about anything, about products, kids, family, business. That is how I've signed a huge number of my team members. Is I would literally like put my phone up on a stand or just prop it up on the stove, and I would just like talk to people while I was like cooking or cutting vegetables, and I would tell my story. And it's so much easier to tell your story in like a 5 to 10 minute video than it is to try to type it out. Like, I don't know about you, but I'm the worst about typing out like 17 pages. And then it's so long nobody's going to read it, so I have to go back and edit it way, way down. But you can talk to someone and it flows naturally. And when you're just telling your story, people are like, oh my gosh, like she is normal. She did just start this and started learning. And if she could do it, maybe I could do it. And so going live is very important to just introduce yourself to your network and let people come to know you.
I love that so much. I love that you hit on just like, even just like fun things that you're doing, because people are nosy and want to know that. So, okay, so we're going to go over to Chelsea. Chelsea, you and Bo have been going live, especially with the Just Celery, which I'm going to share this tip on her behalf because she's not going to share this, but you guys need to watch. I don't remember which one it was. It was the first one Zach and I watched. Maybe it was their day one. You need your husband to get on there and say ramen noodles like 9 times because like I don't even watch very many lives, and I could not turn that off. Zach was sitting there watching it, and all I hear is Bo Hawkins like tastes just like ramen noodles, and I was like, oh my gosh, I can't. But Chelsea, what is you guys' best tips, especially like you guys have been going live together? So what's your tips, whether it's yourself or going live with your spouse?
Yeah, I can remember whenever I was so nervous to go Facebook Live. Like I had never done anything like this. I'm like, you're kidding me, right? And I was in that challenge. We had like a group where we were being challenged, and they challenged us. I don't know if that was my first. I can't even remember now, but I know I was so nervous, y'all. And it was a challenge to go live and talk about the business. I think we had like $20 enrollments or something. And I was so nervous. And now it's just like nothing. And I think having my husband with me, or even bringing like your child in with you, that makes it so much easier for me, because I don't feel like I'm alone. I feel like I'm having a conversation with somebody that's next to me, and I just feel like I can be myself. And people love that. I've heard somebody say before, they're going to buy into you before they buy your products. And just letting them in and letting them see how you act, let them see your true personality. Like I can be super goofy, and being with my husband, it just lets it shine. And my husband's, yeah, he's pretty funny as well. And as Brittany said, she's seen that. So really just go for it and just let them see the real you and let yourself shine and let your personality shine, and they just love it. I'm having so much more interaction now on my Facebook page because I'm going live every day for the Just Celery Challenge. So it's a lot of fun, and it's really increasing my business.
I love that. Okay, so we have 2 more questions. One of them was for you, Chelsea. It was up in the chat. Someone asked what your hair, skin, and nail host-to-post is. They said they weren't getting any traction with theirs.
Okay, yeah. I'll just post it in the chat real quick so that they don't miss it.
Okay, perfect. And one thing too, if you're not getting a lot of hits on your host-to-post, sometimes it can be just an issue that you need to get people who have a better network to post for you. Like if people are really spammy and they share a lot of memes, a lot of articles, they don't really post anything personal about themselves ever, and then they're posting for you, it's not going to get the same amount of attention that someone who is like super genuine on social media, that their post would get for you. And so that's something to remember too, is like just kind of look at who's posting for you and maybe go to some better people, some better candidates who have not completely like jacked up their Facebook algorithm, if that makes sense. But the other question was in the chat. It says, how do you come up with creative ways to post about products? Do you pick a product to focus on for a week or a month? If you've already answered this, I can watch the replay. I don't think we answered that specific question. I know Tabitha talked a lot about like she, you know, being pregnant. She's posting about things that relate to her pregnancy. When she has the baby, she's going to go from there with like bouncing back. And that's one thing that I'll share works really well for me, is just whatever I'm using. People know that I have 5 kids, and if I newly added them to my network, they're going to find out real quick. And so I always, when I talk about fat burning coffee and greens, talk about how simple it is and how much it's helped me as a mom of 5. So just finding things that you can use and you can like really enticingly draw people in for one way or the other. Maybe it's because you have a really busy lifestyle. Maybe it's because you have a lot of kids. Maybe it's, you know, I don't know, any reason at all, but don't underestimate how potent the reason can be with your network, because there's someone out there that's going to be able to relate to that, and that's going to like really draw them in just because of that alone. But one thing I did when I was brand new that I want to share, because it helped me a lot getting focused and like getting a steady stream of people, but basically what I would do is I would pick like 2 to 3 products to post about for a couple weeks. And I really didn't veer away from those products at all. And then after a couple weeks of posting about those products, I would switch over to a couple more. But I honestly just like kept rotating between what was doing well. But studies have shown that people have to see things on average like 9 to 10 times before they feel compelled to act. So even though we have 50 products, you don't want to post about all 50 products. You really want to pick a couple. And then if you want to do a couple more in a few weeks, that's totally fine. But honestly, like to this day, I pretty much talk about like coffee and greens, collagen, and then like the wraps. I mean, that's really it. I've recently started talking about wraps a lot, and I've been signing wrap customers for the first time in a long time in my business, simply because I'm talking about it and I never talked about it. And that was a tip that I got from Pam whenever I had a call with her last month. She just said, if I was you, I'd be talking about the wraps a lot right now, because people aren't talking about the wraps a lot anymore. And so you have that leg up and that advantage. Because it's not something that's being blown up on people's feeds. And so if you start talking about it, like it's actually not something a lot of people are seeing. Whereas several years ago, it was the opposite. That's all people were talking about was wraps. So I took her advice and I started doing it. And literally, you guys, like I'm getting more comments on my wrap posts on Instagram than I am anything else. So I've just been wrapping like every few days. I throw a wrap on, I get Zach to take a picture of me, and that's been golden. And you're welcome to go to my Instagram and kind of look at how I've been doing those wrap posts, because they're still on there. I delete before and afters, but if it's of me, I leave it on there. And so you can kind of get some tips. But does anyone else want to touch on that? What just a creative way to like post about products? Anybody? Jordan, do you want to hit on that? I know you like incorporate mica in a lot of your products and stuff, or product posts.
I do. I'm sorry. I'm still caught up on the ramen noodle things. I'm like, I'm like low-key giggling over here, having a hard time paying attention. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I like to, I can't even get my thoughts straight now. I like to, yeah, incorporate the kids in it. As far as like, I mean, I use mica for chocolate greens, and that's been really big for me. I've had other moms reach out, because I talk about how Micah drinks his chocolate greens and gets his, you know, daily servings of fruits and veggies. And right before he started preschool, I talked about how it built up his immunity, getting ready for school. Trying to think anything else that you haven't said yet.
If I can jump in real quick too, I just want to say, like, if you're using the products consistently, like, then you remember more. Like, when I'm not using them as consistently, it's a lot harder because, like, I don't think about it. But if I'm drinking a shake, then, like, you'll think about, you know, or if your kid is having his chocolate greens, then you, like, remember to post it. Sorry, Jordan.
No, I think that's really good. It really is true. If you're new, just literally like put a couple products on your auto shipment that's going to run this month that you want to try, that you're like, you know what, I really need to work on these health goals myself. So I'm going to get these, because it's so true. When you're using them regularly, it's a lot easier to post about them. And that's not to say you can't post about something that you've not used, because you absolutely can. Like when you're new, if you want to post about wraps and you haven't used wraps yet, go for it. But that's definitely a good way to get in a good posting rhythm, is have a couple things that you use all the time. Even if it's literally just 2 or 3 things, like it'll definitely become second nature for you. So, okay, well, I don't see any more questions. I think that's everything. This was a little bit of a longer team huddle than usual, but I feel like this was so good, just getting to answer all the questions that you guys had. I will get this recording uploaded ASAP. And if you guys have any other questions, you can always ask on the chat, the thread in Fire Tribe, and we can answer them, but we'll have to do another one of these soon. I hope you guys have a great night. And if you guys need anything, just let us know.